Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole. My last name is spelled Andra. My family that I married into, I'll pronounce it a bit differently. So I say Andra because phonetically, that's how I feel like if someone would look at it, that's what they would say. However, I will answer to anything as long as it's nice. I have some experience in referral relations and really enjoyed it and want to share with you some of the pointers that helped me be successful. And what we're going to talk about today is, let me just get here we go, new business, getting your foot in the door. How do we do that, basically? I'm going to start with a quick introduction on myself. I already announced who I was. I am a mother of four. This picture's a few years old. Now I have a 21-year-old, 18-year-old, 15, and 12. I live in sunny southern Utah, where I get to do two of my favorite things. One is play pickleball. The other is go rock hounding. Yeah, that's the nerd side of me right there. Me in a nutshell, and to give you a quick idea of what this presentation will look like, I'm going to keep it around 15 minutes, nice, lots of deep material condensed in a short presentation. I've already gone through our introduction here. We'll talk about where do I start when it comes to new business, the approach you should take, common mistakes, and then we will wrap it up. Let's go. All right. So when I came into my first role as a marketing outreach referral relations director, I had absolutely zero contacts. Zero. Was basically given a list, contact these people, see about getting some new referral partners. So where do I think you should start? I think you should start with a call. Anyone can send an email. Anyone can ignore an email. And unless you're just trying to check off boxes, hey, I reached out, email is not necessarily going to cut it by itself. So we're going to talk about, just getting cold calls out there. So like I said, here I had this list, people to call. Where do I start? Typically, when you're calling someone who's busy, they've never heard of you before. I didn't come from any other prestigious program. I just was there. They don't really care to spend their time talking with you. So when you call, a couple of things, be confident and remember who, where, how. So for instance, who's who you are, where you're calling from, and how are you doing? So I'll pick up the call and I say, hi, this is Nicole calling from such and such. How are you today? And typically they will respond with, I'm sorry, who? Or they'll say a quick, I'm fine. I'll say, well, great. My next step is to enter the time. Have I caught you at a bad time? That is really important because I don't know how many times I've been on a phone call, even just at my home. I'm ready to go out the door. Someone calls. This is back before cell phones, right? Or even if they are on cell phones, and they just start talking and you don't have a minute to say, time out. I need to hurry and get my daughter to dance practice or whatever it is. So part of asking them if you caught them at a bad time is respect for their time, and you want to start out on the right foot. You don't want to be that person that talks to them for 5 minutes before they say, hey, I don't have time. Sorry. That next call with them will be a little bit rough. So if they ask, have I caught you at a bad time? If they say no, not a problem. Well, is there a time that would be better for me to call back? I'd love to hear more about your business. Or they may say, I have a couple minutes, and you'll jump on that. Great. I would love to just learn a little bit about you in that amount of time. And then can we set up a time that might give us more time to connect and I can get to know you. All right. So you have called very confidently, said who you are, where you're from, and asked them how they are. You've asked about their time. Have I caught you at a bad time? When can I set up a good time? And then talk about the how. A lot of times, they may ask, how did you hear about me? Maybe they don't. If you are wanting to plug in about, hey, I'd like to talk with you later, you could follow up with, because I saw your advertisement at such and such, and it looks like you have a really great program. I'd like to learn more about it. Tell them how you heard about it. We'll do a couple of things. It's great for anyone to get a marketing kickback, understand where their marketing money is being spent. And it's also a great time to kind of name drop. If you can put your name out there with someone who is well known in the field and say, I know that such and such has worked with you before and they have really great things to say about you, then that build your credential, and it also is a little bit of an ego booster for them, which never hurt anyone. Next, let's talk about the approach. All right, so you've called. Now what you do. We want to take the approach of, I want to learn about you, not let me tell you about me and my experience and about this wonderful product or program that I have. Let them know you're reaching out to get to know them. You want to get to know them and you want a knowledge of their business. So for instance, I'm on that phone call, I've done the things, how to start out, just say, I would like to understand more of the clientele that you work with so that I can make sure that when I refer to you, it's a good fit. I'd like to understand more so that as I tell people about you, I am more educated on the information that I get them. Generally, people will jump all over that because they want to get more business, they want to make more money. Let's be real, who doesn't like to talk about themselves? So you will get more time with that person that you are calling, that you're trying to get a new business with, if you don't spend that time talking about them. Excuse me, don't spend that time talking about you. You want to talk about them. You want to gather as much information as you can. So ask a lot of questions, open-ended questions. You're going to ask the when did you get into this business? How did you get into this business? Why did you get into this business? Have you always been here? Where's your office located? That type of thing. Ask a lot of questions. Will give you a lot of information for other steps down the road, and basically just build a relationship. No one generally wants to jump in right away and talk about their family, but there are other ways that you can build a relationship. For instance, you could say, I see that you live in Colorado. Are you, the Rockies fans or whatever it is that you want to, maybe the Denver Broncos? Are you fans of them? What do you enjoy? That will open the door to more information. If they're not fans, well, what do you enjoy? And get some more information there. Maybe they like to rock climb, others ski, other things like that. And then after that, you have had your call with them, follow up with them, send them an email, send them a note, make it personal. Hey, I really enjoyed your time. I appreciate getting to know you. And then you could follow up with something that you specifically spoke about on the call, like cheer really loud for me at your next Broncos game or whatever it is. Another great approach is to stalk social media. A follow-up under the approach is to stalk social media, because if you see something on social media that they are going to be doing or that they have done, you can follow up with them with a little note saying, hey, I noticed that you went to this concert. How was it? Great follow-up. Make it personal. All right, our last step is going to be common mistakes. So we talked about what you need to do. Let's talk about what you should try to avoid. And number one, avoid making it about you. So again, going back to your approach, don't get on the call. I'm the referral relations director for this program. I've been doing this for so long. This is my background. You're not trying to sell yourself or the program. Get to know their business. This is why they will give you time in the first place. It's because you're wanting to get to know them. You're wanting to get to know their business. I can't repeat that enough. They will ask you about you and everything else when they want to, and that generally won't come until you have a relationship. In my experience, and this, let's just jump into the next one. I'll get into that experience of don't information dump. So in my experience in this role, there were a lot of other organizations similar to mine. We all kind of had the same product, just tweaked a little differently, right? And so as long as they're each a good product, a lot of times they don't care who they refer to. It's usually who they have a relationship with. And secondly, so as your information dumping on them, telling them everything about your product, your organization, whatever it is, it just kind of blends in with all the other ones that sound the same. What doesn't blend in is the relationship that you build. So let's talk about dating. Think of it as a date. When you take somebody out or when you go out with someone, you don't want to be dumping everything about you onto them, right? People enjoy talking about themselves. It's actually a physiological fact. And that's how we get to know each other, is by learning about each other. So build a relationship, Again, right here, you're not doing all the talking. You're going to be asking about them. This information will be very useful down the future. And then let's go back to that date being pushy. I understand in some sales and referral relations, you do need to be pushy, you do need to be bold, you do need to be persistent. However, in particular ones, such as in the referral relations, being pushy is not necessarily going to help a relationship. Let's talk about that date that you went on. So you went on a date, and let's say this person just talked entirely about themselves the whole time because they really want to impress you and they really like to go out with you again. And they think the more they talk about themselves, the more open you'll be to going out with them again. And then after that date, they continue texting you. Hey, I'd like to go out. That was great. What do you think of me? Whatever it is, but they text you and text you and text you and text you, continuously wanting to go out. Chances are you are probably not going to have any interest in that person for two reasons. The one that just talked about themselves the whole time, and two, the one that totally tried to sell themselves to you. So treat it like a date. Let's say that you saw that person that you want to date on in the grocery store a couple of days later, and they called you by name and said, hey, I had a good time hanging out the other day. How was your niece's recital? Because that was something you may have talked about while you were on a date. And then they followed up with, let's hang out again sometime. Can I give you a call? Whatever it is. You're far more likely, I would guess, I would be far more likely to say yes to that second date if it went more like that than information dumping and being pushy. All right, so we just kind of went through the first quick steps of new business, getting your foot in the door. We will identify and make a call, be confident and respectful. We're going to ask questions, not information dump. Work on building a relationship. And then we're going to follow up and make it personal. My next presentation is going to go off of this presentation, which will be how do you build a relationship? You've made that cold contact.